Honourable Premier Takatalangi this morning handed over two brand new police vehicles to Chief of Police Tony Edwards for his department.
Handover of the new police vehicles courtesy of the Australian Federal Police in association and assisted by the New Zealand Police, as well as Ross Arden and the new Chief. Very, very pleased, Chief. Very happy that you managed to get yourself a new vehicle. If I had known that you were going to be able to do this, I would have asked you to get me a vehicle. But well done and congratulations. And on behalf of the new government, I'd like to thank the Australian government and New Zealand Police as well as yourself for a job well done.
Thank you, sir.
Look after the vehicles, please.
On our radar.
Chief of Police Tony Edwards said he is pleased to start with new vehicles.
I feel so excited and I feel so happy that we've got vehicles for the use of the newer police. So it's a great start for our newer force to have such vehicles so that we can get out there and do the job. So now we're so excited to have them.
He said his expectations the vehicles will be of great service to the island.
If you have items like this, like our new vehicles, we always like to hope that this will portray the way we do things around here. And it gives us a good image of policing and what we want to achieve here and getting out there to the community, and that presence is more important than anything else.
The brand new vehicles cost approximately $50,000 each to land on the island. New Zealand's assistance to Niue is set to continue with increased focus on the National Disaster Plan. According to Regional Emergency Advisor for Civil Defence of New Zealand, Mrs. Suzanne Vels, there is a look to include extra components in the National Disaster Plan.
Your government's very keen to make sure that all the disaster elements are covered, and so we will be looking at drought and fire and pandemic.
How important is it for a small island like ours to have some of these plans in place? I mean, last year, especially when there was a drought, basically nobody knew how to go about it.
It's extremely important, and that's why your government is so interested in talking to the government of New Zealand about what it can learn from what New Zealand knows, and also how New Zealand can support Niue to be prepared. It's your government understands it's very important and is looking for us to support you.
She also said even though the size of the island can see its benefits, it can still be challenging, which government is also keen on some of the extra activities proposed for the disaster management.
Previous discussions have been very much about what's needed for Niue, and now the maturity of that relationship is how do we help you do it and how do we do it together. So we're very keen to support Niue for its own outcomes.
What should be the priorities for Niue in the disaster plan?
Well, your government's quite excited about the proposed Emergency Operations Centre, which is important for Niue if it has a disaster to coordinate information and activity from, and also a few other things like warning systems and things like that. And so those are the priorities for Niue at the moment.
Next week, the Pacific Region Disaster and Climate Change representatives will meet for discussions in Fiji and a first ever effort to merge disaster risk management and climate change. Suzanne said Niue will take some of the focus areas discussed this week to the meeting, and expected 800 representatives from the region and globally are expected at the meeting. More aluminium welders can be beneficial for Niue, says one expert who arrived on the island to educate on the area of welding. According to Greg Kershaw, the participants at this week's fisheries workshop have the basic skills in the welding industry.
Currently on the island there seems to be a growing need for more and more aluminium welding, and we have the equipment here now, so the boys are now increasing their skill level so that they're able to carry out the work themselves.
So when you say increase their skill levels, have they been trained before? Is this one of those things that
I think the general skill level was pretty high amongst the guys. They're obviously involved in the mechanical side, and welding is one aspect of it. But there's a growing need for more and more specialist welders that are able to carry out the repairs on the island. So they're competent guys. They're well trained, But in terms of the aluminium welding, this is something that they can really benefit from greatly.
He said the benefits will be recognised in the boating industry and other welding jobs, and there should be an encouragement for those who has the interest in the industry.
Certainly with a bit of time, I can see them being as good as anyone anywhere in the world, not just New Zealand.
How hard is this job?
It's quite difficult. It's not something that you just pick up and do. It does require a little bit of practice, and particularly setting the machine and understanding the principles of the machine operation and maintenance does take some time. Part of the purpose for this exercise that we're doing at the moment, as the guys are gaining their skills, I think we're going to hand pick out the ones that really shine and show some promise. And I would suggest that, yes, they can continue on and get qualified in that. As I say, from what I understand, there is a growing need for the aluminium repairs, particularly in the boat building and the boat repair industry.
Maternally Relila said he is happy with the knowledge they have gained thus far, and he sees it very beneficial for the industry and also those outside in the private sector and also Niue. The next phase of the workshop is to work on the actual boats. Niue's weightlifting team said they are happy with the 5 young talents that's available to continue in the sport after last Saturday night's competition at Clayton's Club in Alofi. Weightlifting representative Alan Tanu said the event on Saturday was great and it gave the young ones a chance in a very challenging sport. One of Niue's famous lifters, Danny Nemani, travelled to Niue last week, especially for the event, and was excited with the efforts by the young talents.
A lot of credit to the young team. They've been working very hard, and credit to the local coaches here who've been keeping them going, and also to their families for supporting them with everything here. So it's really exciting.
How do you feel they compare to, the same age group around the Pacific? You've been to, a few of the competition.
There's nothing different. Really, there's nothing different with these kids. They're really talented, a lot of promise, and they've got a big future ahead. But there's they've got to put the time in and also put the hard work in with that talent. And it's really tough when you first start. You train sometimes by yourself and a lot of sacrifice, but it's worth it. It's worth it at the end of it.
Do you think it's more difficult for them being here on the rock? There's actually no competition.
It is, but it's not. Looking at the with the competitions in the future, you always got something to look forward to. There'll be at least 2 to 3 competitions that the team can enter. So there's always that motivation. But yeah, it can be tough. But I know these kids, they're really motivated, really self-driven, and they're a good bunch of kids. Really getting the benefits of the last 6-7 years, and everything's coming to the front now. Yeah, it's exciting, really exciting.
And you're off to Brisbane soon.
Yep. Yeah, we're off to Brisbane in about 3 weeks' time, and that'll be for the Oceania Champs and South Pacific Champs as well. So I'm looking to do well at these championships.
What are you hoping to achieve firstly in Brisbane and then the mini games?
Yeah, gold for the South Pacific. That's the South Pacific Champs. That's the goal. Leading into the mini Pacific Games, looking to get gold as well. And for the Oceania Champs, I'll be chasing the Damon Kelly from Australia. He's a little bit ahead of me at the moment, but I'll be looking to put him under pressure.
He also had some advice for budding weightlifters on the island. The next event for Niue Weightlifting Federation is the powerlifting competition the end of the month. And the end our news bulletin for tonight. Advisory on heavy damaging swells at the end of last week, leading to the weekend, did not deter people from going to the sea. Observations noticed many people ignored the advisories. SPREP agency advised its network of damaging swells in the Pacific, including Niue, and this was also a broadcast for mariners to be aware of. However, more people took to the marine on Saturday without batting an eyelid. Niue Met Services said there are constant reminders of heavy swells, but people hardly respond to them. One fisherman said there were swells and they couldn't see in some areas, but they did not take much notice. The advice from regional agencies for mariners to be mindful of advisories in case of unforeseen circumstances. That's our news bulletin for tonight. Good evening.